I shared with you yesterday the story, the parable of the screwdriver, and I wanted to break up talking about it and the parable itself to kind of be a little bit more bite-sized, and so that's why I kind of want to let it cook, as the kids say. This was a bit of creative writing that I did a couple weeks ago. I woke up and was I'd like to call it doing my morning meditation or reflections, but sometimes just sitting simply on the couch and kind of staring into space. Sounds meditative to me. It feels meditative. And I started to write this down, and I became very emotional. I mean, towards the end, I was very much weeping. I don't know that this story is going to hit home for everybody, and that's okay. The part that really felt divine to me was this idea of, am I searching or am I exploring? I feel that in many ways I have, because of noble efforts and designs, right? I'm a father and a husband, and I have a job, and I have friendships and relationships I care about maintaining. That in all these things, that you start to be concerned with what other people think of you, at least compared to how you were when you were 2 years old. Biology and psychology teach us that there's a lot of practical functionality to this. But for some of us, myself, we end up over-indexing on the importance of what other people think of us. And we end up abandoning ourselves. We don't worry about developing the inner voice and worrying about how to discover speaking from that perspective. Not in a rude way, not in a way that seeks to silence the critics or even remove their ability to critique, but rather we realize that there's just not a lot we can do to control them, or maybe rather we don't realize it because we end up seeking to do so a ton. But as I wrote this, and as I've explored my thoughts recently, I keep coming back to this notion of exploring versus seeking a specific thing. I have been seeking for a long time to win some prize, finally accomplish something in life that as I think about the things in my mind to do it, I would say something like, I've hoped to be able to accomplish some great things so that I could finally be done worrying about if I'm cool enough to be likable. I have wanted to get rich so that I could finally stop worrying about the fears of, will I not have enough in the future? Will I not be able to protect my loved ones or myself? Will I not be able to buy the toys that I think are fun, that I want? And I think this is something I heard somebody else point out, but when you are searching this way, the best you can hope for is relief, right? That you're going, I am in a deficit, and I am searching all over to fill a void. And until I fill that void, I feel panic that there's a gap, there's a void, there's a space that needs to be filled. And even if I were to finally find that thing, it wouldn't feel like contentment. It would feel like, oh, thank goodness. Now there's been little things to fill the void, right? I get a new job with more pay. I get some great public accolade. I perform something. I give a talk. People say, "Hey, that was really good," and I go, oh, "Okay, good. I've received enough praise that fills the void." But the shelf life of that sort of gap filler is relatively short, and I have searched a long time and felt a lot of exhaustion, even to the point of even feeling hopelessness, because it never feels like you get a net positive. You just fill up the gap and feel relief from the constant pressure of the search. But then the next day, a week from then, the search is on again. But as I thought about that and said, but exploration is fun. You can't see it, and it's a bit of a mess, so I don't know that I want to show it. But my room here is full of, I've got an amplifier, and I've got effects pedals, and I've got old vacuum tubes and computer parts, and I've got Magic the Gathering cards and other card games and collections of books. And some of these things, perhaps in a way, were vehicles to achieve some sort of somebody else will like me kind of thing. But by and large, a lot of it was because I like to explore it. I like to play guitar and just make noise, loud noise. I like to tinker with designs and 3D print things. And there's many people call it the flow state, or ego disillusion, or dissolving the ego, or death of the ego. But they're all pointing towards the same thing of when I am in the zone and I'm just tinkering, I'm just exploring a subject, an idea, and I'm doing it not because I'm thinking, oh, what will people think of me? I hope they like me because of what I'm doing. I hope I do what I'm doing well enough that these people like me. Instead, I'm literally not aware that there is anything but this thing, and enjoying the process of scratching that itch. I've just described ego death, right? Or at least death always sounds so either morbid or like it's such a permanent thing. I don't think we're meant to have our ego entirely go away forever. Because again, we are tribal creatures. We are meant to have communities. Some degree of our awareness needs to be on what is my identity within the group and how will the group respond to my behavior. That's a survival mechanism, but over-indexing it, right? A unhealthy preoccupation or over-focus on those concerns, especially at the cost and expense of what do I want, even if no one else is looking. That's a subtle and a sad state to have found myself in. Sad not because of, I'm not even sure if sad's the right word there, but certainly I would say that it's not about doing things so that I can feel a fleeting moment of elation, but rather when I practice creativity, when I make YouTube videos, when I fix guitar amplifiers and build stuff and make effects pedals and enjoy the smell of solder and just all these random little things that just feel like, some of them are brainier things, some of them aren't, but that's not what I care about, right? What is, that's a brainy thing. Says who? By comparison. That's the idea. That's the trouble. It's letting the ego sneak back in there. So, I hope you enjoyed the parable of the screwdriver. Obviously it's self-serving. I would love it if you shared it with, share it with everyone. But in particular, if you know someone that maybe is thinking they have something along the lines of ADHD, or even can just relate to the idea of, I feel lost sometimes and I'm searching, and I've searched a lot of places, and I'm stressed or sad or feeling depressed that I can't seem to find the answer there. It has been life-changing to me to be able to reframe that and say, what if instead of having to have an answer, to have a resolution to some of these big questions, and I'm talking big, right? Is there a God? What religion? What should I do with my life? Those are worthwhile things to contemplate. But I'm wondering if we don't preemptively limit ourselves to the grandeur of the answers by seeking explicitly the answers. And we have to know definitively, not just, enough for ourselves, but to go, I need to know enough that it can silence all the critics. I think that's impossible, because there will always be people, and we want the freedom to criticize. That's an important human freedom. But to over-index on that is limitation. So if you know somebody who feels lost, share the parable with them. I'd love to get the feedback. It's a piece of writing. Even as I read through it, I can imagine there's a lot of places for improvement on it. We'll see where we go with it, but I found it a very meaningful thing to switch from I'm engaged in a desperate search to I am a explorer. And every day there are things that I get to explore. And that has been a radical difference of a mindset to get into. Not one that came easily, and not one that I think that simply watching a video is going to magically grant you. But if you're willing to explore that with me, I think there's a ton to it. So, I'm Neil Oler. I really appreciate you watching this. I really appreciate you being here with me. And let me know how exploration goes for you. I'd love to hear back from you. We'll talk soon. Bye.